All right, issue number 2. Reverend Oliver brought to our attention that in upstate New York, the Mohegan Indian are going. There's an attempt to move them off of the reservation in Ulster County, New York. Now, all of us know that the indigenous population of this country has been moved and pushed all over the country. Why don't you tell us what's going on in Ulster County, New York, and who is attempting to move them? Is this the governor?
No, this is the county of Ulster. For several years, there have been attempts to shut down the reservation that is occupied by Mohicans. The Mohicans go back to long before 1609, but in 1609, when Henry Hudson came here, he sailed up what we now call the Hudson River, but it was the Moheganatuck River at that time, named after the Mohicans, and their territory extended from Lake Champlain down to Manhattan, and it extended eastward through Massachusetts and Connecticut and parts of Vermont. So they were a very large tribe. However, they have been whittled down and whittled down and whittled down. So now they have a couple of hundred acres in Ulster County, and they bought this property for back taxes for $900,000, which they paid. Then they were assessed another $1 million, which they also paid. And now they have been assessed another $600,000, and because they haven't paid that, they were to be closed down and their properties taken, and whatever they had of value was to be sold at auction this coming Thursday at 10:30 in the morning. And just yesterday, a court decision was handed down in Ellensville, New York, and that court decision gave them until May 9th, but the hammer still hangs over their head. It seems very strange that Native Americans who are here and who are abiding by the laws of the land and trying to survive are being removed from the very reservation that they have been reduced to. And this is horrible. But the Black Solidarity Education Committee has been involved with this. Chief Ronald Roberts is a member of the Black Solidarity Education Committee. He appeared with us on September 19th of last year. He spoke very strongly in favor of Sankofa International Academy and promised that funds would be coming to that school to help them. And this was very wonderful and good of him. And it would be very wonderful for blacks to look back in history and become more aware of what the Indians or Native Americans have done to make our life more livable. If Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman did not have the support of the Indians, they could not have brought slaves out of the South, as Harriet Tubman did. They had the support of the Native Americans. And as you look over the history of the country, the Native Americans have welcomed blacks, made them feel at home. And it's about time we returned the favor and showed our concern and our love for them.
Right, all right, and I'm sure you'll give us an update, but that's a history that we really have to one day talk about, the support that the so-called American Indians gave to Africans.
Well, just briefly, it's no question about it. The Underground Railroad, which is what Reverend Oliver's alluding to, there were places where in the Midwest and certainly going up north towards Canada where Native Americans were more than useful. They played a key component. And then, of course, those enslaved Africans in the Deep South did not always go north. Some of them went south towards the tips of Georgia, South Carolina, and certainly Florida was the place where the Seminole Indians, that if you could reach them, you would be free. So once you got on their land, they protected Africans, they embraced Africans, and Africans became a part of the Seminole Nation. You became family. So that's a history that we should look at. Right,
and then the overall history of the Holocaust. In this country, there's been 2 Holocausts. There's been an indigenous population Holocaust right here and an African Holocaust that this country should hold its head down in shame for being a part of.
I would like to point out also that the phrase, "we the people," that's part of the preamble to our Constitution came from the Native Americans.
The Iroquois.
The Iroquois and the Mohicans. And in their constitutions, they refer to the people. And John Randolph liked that. And he took that phrase and made it a part of the preamble to this Constitution, but then it excluded the Indians from being a part of the nation. So, and they made it very clear in that preamble that this Constitution is for us and our posterity. And it is still for them and their posterity, not for us. So we cannot, by any right reasoning, think ourselves citizens of a country that excluded us in all the documents that they had, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and the preamble of the Constitution. We're not part of it.
Right. All right. Issue number 4, real briefly, just an update on the Libyan conflict. Barack Obama has authorized the United States to fly drone attacks on the nation of Libya. Julian, we'll start with you real quick. You know, the United Nations Security Council authorized a no-fly zone, meaning that Libyans couldn't fly the airplanes to bomb their so-called citizens. Now this is just all bets are off. This is actually just an all-out war, and the ultimate aim is to kill or remove Gaddafi.
Well, you know, as Father Lucas, who isn't here today, always says, it's not a war. You know, it's really an invasion.
Right.
And we have to be clear. The bottom line is they want to kill Omar Gaddafi. They want to kill him, Omar Gaddafi. That's it. This isn't trying to liberate people in a country, save lives. That's not what it's about. And we have to be clear when we look at this, what this country, what the West is attempting to do. And we cannot, in our right minds, support what's happening there.
I would just say that certainly for the record, the New York Post, the New York Times made it clear several weeks ago that there were only 1,000 so-called rebels. You cannot say that it's a civil war going on in an African country when it's only 1,000, and you juxtapose that with the country of 7 million. So therefore, America's involving itself in a regime change, and I think that someone in the Congressional Black Caucus should submit articles of impeachment against President Obama to stop that free hand that he has right now with respect to bombing an African country. And now he's using Predator drones that were being used in Pakistan. They're now being utilized from Arizona, places like that, where they're being shot from, as well as places he has in that strategic area to kill certain high-value targets that they have in that area, and they're claiming that they're not trying to kill him, yet they bombed his compound again the other day.
Exactly.
So they are trying to kill him. They're trying to kill members of his family, his sons in particular. So it's regime change that's going on, and this is being done by an African-American president, bombing an African country, and someone needs to stop it. And I think that the articles of impeachment will at least let them know that black folks are not going to allow you to do that.
Reverend Oliver, you're coined and described excellently as a human rights advocate. Okay, when King was alive, he came forward to articulate his difference of opinion with the Vietnam War as a humanist, you know, seeing us all part as a human family. Where are these civil rights leaders today, especially some so-called prominent civil rights or human rights, who are silent, totally silent, not only with this war, but the war in Pakistan, the war in Iraq, and the war in Afghanistan. There's no anti-war movement whatsoever. Why the silence?
Well, why the silence, and where are the civil rights leaders? Several of them are still alive, but they are very old now and not able to get out and do in the streets what they used to do. But I see what's happening in this country, a small group that's controlling the government. And they are doing what they want to do, and it has nothing to do with the Constitution, because they're not going by the Constitution. It is reported, was reported, that former President George Bush made the comment that the Constitution was just a GD piece of paper.
Wow.
And there are those who want to go back and do the Constitution like the Tea Party